Welcome to Discovering Creativity. We have today Nestor Infanzon from Texas A&M University and Clara Fleischer from Mexico City, from Mexico. And we are going to have an interview about creativity. This is a collaboration between the Institute of San Miguel de Allende, Instituto San Miguelense, Texas A&M University, and the American Creativity Association. So welcome, both of you, and thank you so much for making this dream a reality. When you have to coordinate between different people, it just becomes a little bit challenging, but I think this is going to be a win-win-win situation for all of us and for people who listen to us, to this program. So I'm going to let you, Nestor, get in started. And so no pressure, because I'm going to be out. So I give you freedom. And as the whole thing evolves, you have 40 minutes to complete this interview, okay?
I'll do my best to get it all done, Squad.
This is what we do in Texas A&M.
Yeah.
All right.
First of all, Ms. Fisher, it's really an honor to be able to spend some time talking to you about what you do and how you do it. And a little bit about me so you understand where I'm coming from. I am working on my PhD that focuses on thinking creativity and decision-making process on curriculums that are innovative by nature, painting, music, architecture, and some areas, business and so on. And I'm more interested in the neurosciences, how your brain really starts to work. So when Professor A asked me to sort of spend some time thinking about talking to you, I went and did some research and find out some things about you. So let me ask you 10 critical questions. Feel free to answer in Spanish. That makes you more comfortable, or in English, whatever makes you more comfortable. I read on your bio that you started as a painter and then you ended up in creativity, and there's a gap in between. Could you share with us some stories about your greatest successes in facilitating companies and individuals to use creative thinking and creative methodology?
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. First, I want to clarify something. My name is Clara Fleischer, but as an artist, I used my ex-husband's name that was Klug. So everybody knows me as Clara Klug, no? So maybe this is a confusion because my curriculum, my work is as Clara Klug, but not with my real name that is Clara Fleischer, no? So this is why I have two names. So you can call me Clara Klug or Clara Fleischer, whatever is best for you, okay? Now, I believe that the greatest success I have had in the creative field is understanding that the most important product that I can develop is myself. No, so I could say that if I want to give an example of what is a creative way of living, changing, and just completely being a different person from being an artist to being a facilitator or being a coach or going to now to a master's in neuroscience. This is something that I'm studying now. Is really helped me to have an appreciation of life in a different way that I could say that I could have had without creativity. The second great success that I can tell you is my business. Grupo Piensa. I started after I left. I left my career and I was really in a very economical bad situation. And because of creativity, in 5 years building Piensa, I had 14 offices in the world. And I had very important clients like Coca-Cola or I mean, clients all over the world. The Chinese government was my client, etc. No, so Grupo Piensa became a creative way of building a business. So I don't know if this answers your question. No?
It does, but it brought up a very interesting secondary venue. You define yourself as a facilitator.
Yeah.
So you see yourself more as a vehicle for other people to learn and develop and express their creativity. Would that be a better example or better answer for that?
No, I define myself as a facilitator, but for me it's very clear since I studied the master that my role is to give the other the process and not interfere in the content. So I'm a facilitator because I don't interfere in the content, but I have changed a lot of time and I have developed many tools for facilitating the process. So for the other person, it's much easier to come to new ideas or new solutions that he didn't even thought. So, one of the things that I have learned during this time is when you are doing the brainstorming, the tendency of a facilitator is to go to have many ideas and have fun and defer judgment. And for me, it has been a shock, but one after time, after another facilitation, the emotion that has aroused when you are in a brainstorming is fear. People are afraid of saying things, of not being proper, of not in an organization to be I don't know the word in English, weak in front of the others. No, so yes, I'm a facilitator because in this situation, and this is why I'm studying neuroscience, is because I have learned that these emotions that appear in this moment is my role as a facilitator to make better for the people to be able to think. So yes, I'm a facilitator. I'm not a consultant. I don't like to come me with my ideas. I come with my ideas for my processes, but for others, I help them just get there.
So let me ask you a sort of an origin question. How much do you feel that your training as an artist has provided you the opportunity to develop a unique training program? Or how has that allowed you to use the lessons learned from that creative program to sort of share with others?
Yeah, for sure. For sure, it had helped me. It had helped me to develop new tools. It had helped me to be very visual in the process, to understand that visually this is the way that people are able to think better. It has helped me because you see, when you're an artist, your goal is not to put painting in a canvas. Your goal is to have something to say as an artist. Mm-hmm. So being able to say something as an artist has bring me to this understanding how first people are different to me because they say things in a different way than me. And second, because my role is to help them to say what they have to say. No, I had a fantastic teacher, Mary Murdoch, at the master's degree, and she gave me an advice that up to now I continue doing it. Every time that I'm going to be with a group, I take a little piece of paper and I write in it, remember, they are not as you. I put it in my pocket and I go to the facilitator or the facilitator role, having this thing in my pocket. Remember, they are not as you. No, and this comes from the flexibility and the taking risk that as an artist you have to have.
Okay. Now, so following the train of thought of facilitator, what would you define to be those key components or those core fundamental ideas that you have identified required to be a successful trainer, a successful facilitator? You know, you have mentioned the idea of emotion, you mentioned the idea of being visual, and you mentioned the idea of being flexible. Or are there other verbs or nouns that you want to talk about that sort of will explain how you process, how you bring the process into the discussion?
Yeah, for me, the most important, really the core of this is to trust the process work. No, if you trust the process, if you go with it, if you believe in the creativity of others and in your own creativity, this is going to happen. You know, and time after time after time, I come to understand that this is the base of creative problem solving. Know that there is a process, a very good process, and if you trust this, you're going to come to results.
So, how would you define your process? How do you describe, in layman's term, what the process really is?
Okay, first, data. I mean, best ideas come if you have good data. So having the time to understand that the data is the right data, that you are making a good diagnosis is the most important part of the beginning of the process. So, and also this part that comes from design thinking of using empathy to understand what is the inside of what happens in the problem. The second part is taking the time to see which one is the right problem. I mean, if Einstein used to say, if you have the right problem, then the solution is very easy. No, mm-hmm. So coming to the right problem. No, and this is for me something that takes me time. I'm not good in clarifying problems. So, but this is why I try to work with people with me that are better than me in this area. You know? Then getting ideas. And the most difficult part of the process is picking up the ideas that will become good solutions. Because if you pick up the ideas that really will work, and people tend here to go back to the comfort zone, to do what they used to do before, to not to take risks. So focusing not in feasibility, but in impact of the ideas that you have. You know, especially when you work in a company, and you don't pick the right ideas that they are going to be solutions, and you go with feasibility and not with impact, what you are developing in an organization is organizational hamsters. You see, they work, they run, but they don't come to something that is really going to make a change or have the impact that is needed. So that is for me, the part that where I'm very good, to bring people to come to an impact solution. But an impact solution means also that the implementation it's not going to be as easy as the implementation that you have with something that is totally feasible. No. So in implementation, that is the last part of the process, it's very important to help them get intrinsic motivation.
Okay.
To see that this is the way to go.
That's very interesting. I just sort of remap your process here on the idea that you begin with the notion that you have to have a diagnostic analysis phase with all the data and everything that is impacting the process, which you then translate into defining what the real problem is. It's just go from here and then you get that point. And then you go into an idea area, and basically I thought of it as sort of like a consensus building so you can work on the implementation. So that's pretty much how I listen to your process, which is not very dissimilar from other creative diagrams in terms of how everything works out.
But I can tell you that as an artist, the process is very much the same.
Yes.
You see, as an artist, I was in psychotherapy all the time that I paint, because having this analysis of what are my reasons for painting, what I want to say, it was more important than how I'm going to do it. So understanding, having the data of what is the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing was absolutely important to work as an artist. Yes. And I was a very successful artist.
So following that thought, having been trained as a painter, and some point along the line, being a painter, you deal a lot with innovation and creativity and sort of representing images that may not be everybody recognizes. Where along the line were you inspired to sort of leave behind the painting side of your creative and become a facilitator? And something happened that there have to be I don't know whether it's a moral challenge or a psychic or a recognition or development, a friendship, somebody who said, no, you could be better doing this.
No. Well, this is very private, but I'm going to share it with you. I was doing an exhibition. I worked on it for 3 years. And the art gallery who was taking care of my work did a very good job selling my work. So I came to the exhibition with all the paintings. They were 26 paintings, large format, and it was totally sold out. Okay. Among the paintings that I was there, one belonged to the Director of National Security of the country. He paid for it. I framed it for it. I put it in his house with the asking him the favor to lend this piece for the exhibition. He said, okay. It comes the exhibition, and it was a lot of people, and it came the marchand of an ex-president. And he says, I want the whole exhibition. And I said, I cannot sell it to you. It's already sold out. 3 days later, they made a hole and they stole the whole exhibition. Among the paintings that they stole was the one that belonged to the Director of National Security. It was a huge noise, and it was not my noise, it was this man's noise, but the ex-president forced him to be quiet by kidnapping me. So I was kidnapped for 3 days, where during day and night they put a shower of cold water in my body. I almost died, and I begged the Director of National Security to stop the noise. I went from there to the hospital. I had an exhibition in La Défense in Paris. I prepared the exhibition. It came the director of the gallery, and she said to me, "You know, Clara, you have the craft, but in what you're doing there is no passion." And I said, "No, I don't have the passion anymore." And I destroyed the whole exhibition, and I have never taken a brush again in my life. So this is how I shift from being an artist to going to this second master's that I had there. That was the creativity, innovation, and leadership for change. Because in this process, as I had to pay for all the paintings that I didn't recover and they were all sold out, I lost my house, I lost my marriage, and I needed to go in a way of having a support for myself and my 3 boys. So this is how I became a facilitator with all my passion and all my heart, and the decision of being as successful in this field as I was as an artist. This is the story.
So along that line, I'm sorry to hear that happened to you. I mean, it's really sad that things like that actually do happen in this world. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do for the past. And my gain is that somehow when you were between the hospital and your master's degree, somebody came to you and said, you should consider this as an opportunity. The creative side of you can be rekindled in terms of educating others, training others, helping others. So from that point, I feel that, you're coming great. Was there anybody that sort of impacted you in a way? I know that you had Dr. Osborne and Dr. Parnes, who were at Buffalo, that they really kind of were part of your program, and they sort of may have been part of your building your process.
Okay, no. When I started as an artist, I didn't have enough money to support myself as an artist. So what I did is I had a class for children, an art class for children, and it was a lousy class. You see, I left the class because I was not doing right, but life put me in front of a woman who had a school for blind children. So I asked her if I could give painting classes to blind children, and she said, okay. So I was teaching blind children for 3 years how to paint. If I can say that there are teachers that for me were the main basis for this, are these blind children. This is where I started to understand how symbol in child happens, what is the process they are having. And so before this, what happened to me as an artist, I already had a master's degree. I had it because I went to a program in San Diego, and I found there Dr. Gerard Pucho, that now he's the director of the International Center for Studies in Creativity. I was with him for 3 hours, and then I decided this is something that I need to continue giving classes to children. So I went to have my master's as in creativity because of my classes with children. It was not related to my art, but to my desire to understand more how children think. So when all this happened to me, I already had a master's. I was well known also as an art teacher. So what really brought me is this relation with Dr. Pucho. What happened in Buffalo, in the International Center for Studies in Creativity, is that the process was so human. The teachers were so fantastically prepared for what they were doing. The process that Osborne and Parnes developed was so related to what is creativity, that I embrace it with all my heart. I never thought that I was going to end as a facilitator, but when I had to do it, I had this process. I believe in it, and I think that this is a gift of life that I never thought I could have. This is how this.
So you're teaching the opportunity to teach blind kids painting sort of inspire you to sort of how people see things and how creativity gets evolved.
Yeah.
And that led you then into going into that next phase of it. Now, changing a little bit in terms of that, I know that the program at Buffalo was created, and the information that I've gathered is very sort of linear. You do this, you do this, you do this, which is a little bit different from yours because you infuse in it some more humanity and some more human skills. Is that a fair comment to say that you have taken the Buffalo program and sort of expanded it to be more your personal view of how innovation and creativity needs to be done?
No, I think that there are two ways of looking at the process. Okay, from Buffalo, you can look at it as a process to follow up in a linear way, or you look at it as a philosophy of how people need to think to come to be creative. So for me, it became more like a way of living, a way of facilitating myself before I facilitate others. And the reason I have changed it is precisely because the process is not linear. You see, if you really go to it, if you continue studying about it, and if you talk to people that they are much, much skilled, they are better facilitators than me. In understanding what they are doing, in sharing information, this helps you to come to a non-linear process. But definitely, this is not my process. This is the process of Osborne and Partners. That I have interiorized as a way of facilitating. Yeah.
Now, based on your resume and what is expressed on your website for Think, a lot of your projects tend to be involved in the business side of the equation. Do you do other things than just business?
Yeah. Business is my main part because it is how it happened. But I feel that I am a very lucky person. So aside of my business part, I do a social innovation. I mean, it's important to do both. You learn and you grow in creativity, but also you grow in service. And you grow in joy and you grow in pain, So creativity brings this forth, but if you don't have service, if you are not helping others, it becomes like what to do this for money. You see, so social innovation, for me, is something that every facilitator should do.
Could you give me an example of your social innovation efforts?
Well, I have worked with 50 very good ideas of in Latin American people. Okay, I even have a book about this, and we have developed things like a place for parties, children's parties, in a cemetery in Chile. We have taken what is the waste of bread in big bags, and bread has a lot of gas. And we have already 3 incredible farms that they work with bread energy. We went to the north of Mexico in a place that is very dry and people had no water. And just with plastic bags and wrap them together, we were able to give them a little bit of water, but now they can survive with this. So social innovation is absolutely important in my work. Yes.
Okay. So following that same lines, do you provide the same innovative training with educators? I mean, whether they're higher education, university, high school kids, or do you share that same process with them?
Absolutely. No, in my life, I have worked with many Montessori schools, and I can say that even my process with the children, the art process with children, is now used by every Montessori school. I don't know outside, but yes, in one school in Houston, in all the schools in Mexico. So this process, that is the process of how children develop drawing and painting, is part of what I have shared and train and give to anybody who asks me of that. Working in schools as a creative facilitator, I haven't done this, but my part as an artist, I have done it a lot. Yes.
So do you find teaching creativity to children or young adults easier than it is to teach older people, mature people?
No, it's the other way. When I teach children creativity, they teach me. It's the other way, With adults, I have the control of the process. With children, let me give you an example of what happened with a child. He was painting, and he was like almost 4 years old, and he was developing the human body totally perfect. When he ends, he takes a black crayon and he smears and destroys everything. I come to him and I tell him, who is this child? And he says, myself. And I thought I have to talk to the parents. Something bad is happening here. But I asked him, what are you doing? And he answered, I'm putting a sweater. You see, what happened is he put everything black because that is the way he looks at himself when he's putting a sweater. So I learned so much of that moment, not to judge, not to, not to go to the bad side of things. It was fantastic. So I have many of these stories working with children that they were my teachers. It was not the other way. I became a more flexible person because working with children. Yes.
So it will be safe to say that your interaction with the children and some of your other groups sort of feeds your creative. It sort of reinforces the fact that you are actually doing something really good.
Yeah. But it also helped me to become, I hope, a more humble person, because I go to work trying to learn something, not to teach something, and this is a fantastic way of relating with others, learning from them.
I have to make some notes because that's a very interesting point. Going to work to learn something new. That's, I hope most people have that attitude. How do you measure when you're dealing with groups and that you're facilitating? How do you measure both the short-term versus the long-term gain? Like, for example, if I was one of your students and I attended, how do you make sure that over the years or the months after our facilitation that I'm actually sort of using the lessons that I got from you? How do you measure that? Or do you measure that?
Yeah. Okay. First, this is something that I have learned with time. if you want to bring somebody to creative problem solving, you have to work in content. This means you have to work with a real problem of the person or for the team. So in the short term, you measure success if they came to a solution or they didn't come to a solution. No, so in the short term, it's very easy to measure it. In the long term, I was giving a certification for the International Center for Studies in Creativity in Latin America, and we work around with 600 people. No, and in the long term, and because we follow the 600 people, all of them changed their job. So what happened is that they understood that they have options, that they can go for something that is better for them, and their locus of control was much stronger to say, I deserve something better for myself. So yes, creativity brings results in the short term, in the long term. No.
Now, when you complete a session, and are there opportunities that you find somebody who has this immense creativity, and then you ask him to join you on your team? Does that happen?
Oh yes, all my team is because of people that have been in my sessions. No, I steal them absolutely. And yes, I have in my team fantastic people that they work in other places and now they work for me. But little by little, I'm shrinking myself. I'm an old lady. No, I cannot continue with 14 offices in the world. I cannot continue with this stress. So I'm becoming more a coach and than a facilitator. And because this is easier for me in my physical work, no. But all my life, I have taken people that I like a lot and they are working for me, but also that I have developed them to be by themselves. No, I mean, working for me is nice, but it's nicer if they can be independent of me. So, and I can tell you that most all of them are independent and they are very skilled facilitators. Yes.
During your groups that you're facilitating, how do you integrate the feedback and the observations that you have from either business people or educators or even children? How do you integrate that into your practice? How much the impact of their imagination sort of feeds into your imagination?
This is why when I go to work, I work with this really need of learning. Because this feedback after the workshop, I take the time with myself, with my team, or with my therapist. Because I continue with a therapist to be a better facilitator. And we analyze the feedback and see what was good and what can be improved. And when people say everything is good, something is not good. You see? So maybe the most important feedback is when people tell you, oh, everything was perfect, so you know that something is wrong in what you did. Then you have to analyze deeper what can be changed. Yes. So learning is part of my life. Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you something that wasn't on the original 10 question, but it's something that is intriguing me on terms of your commitment to creativity and innovation and the passion that you sort of bring forth to this discussion. What do you think, or what would you like your legacy to be defined as?
Oh, that is a very strange question. No, a very, very strong question. There was in my company, I didn't have very many rules. But there is one that I believe strongly in it. No, if two people think alike, one is extra. Okay? So that was something that for me has always been different. Mm, I'm not doing nothing new. I mean, the process is a process that exists. I know that some people are feeling they have a better job because of what they had with me, this relation with me. My son, my youngest son, continues with my company. So part of my legacy is knowing that my son is very happy doing this. My other two sons are very creative people, very successful people, and they are bringing this concept of creativity to their children. You know, but my legacy, I don't know what my legacy is. I hope with this time, maybe I can work with 3,000 people. I hope that the legacy is there by doing something. But there is something that I want to tell you that is important for me. Creativity is an ethic. If not, it would be destructivity. So being ethical is part of being creative. So it means I could teach to others and also to teach to others that it's unethical to be certain. Because if you're certain, there is not a place for learning anymore. You know? So maybe what I could say as a legacy is that yes, I share with everybody that creativity is a gift God, the creator gave creativity, and that you're certain that you could grow. I hope that would be
Well, Miss Fisher, Clara, that is a very nice thought. I mean, the idea that what you really look at what your real legacy is. I mean, as an educator, in my case, if I can get one of my student one to really believe in themselves, I'm doing fine. Because it really is creativity and innovation comes from you, your ability to challenge yourself and say, hey, there's maybe a different way to look at this. There's a different way to think about this, and to be open and not fear failure. Failure is just what I refer as a learning lesson. You fail and you learn, and then you move forward. Okay. Well, Louise, how are we doing on time?
perfect.
Okay. So then we're just going to explore some of the comments that you made in terms of your process. So I find it really interesting that your creativity portion really builds from the emotional side, that you have an emotional commitment. And how are you able to get your students who are participating on a workshop to become emotional just like you are?
I don't think that my process is just emotional. I'm very rational when I'm with others. No,
Right.
Emotion is something that has not been really studied in the process. So I'm trying to understand what are the emotions in the process, because the thinking skills are there. They are very well known, but there is not a study of what is the emotional part of the process. My intention is not to make them emotional, because I think that I won't have the power to control this. No, so I go very much in the rational part, but I'm aware of the emotions that are happening there, and respect them and let them go. No, so if somebody has fear, he has fear. No, and I cannot push him or tell him, oh, this is so nice and you have to be happy, blah, blah, blah. No, you have really to respect what is happening with others, because others are different of you. And when I say I trust the process, my intention is trusting the process not to come to a result, the result that I need to be paid or to be say, oh, Clara is fantastic, but the process to make people happy with what they are doing. No.
Right. And by emotion, I wasn't implying that you want to make them all happy, but it's that you're listening and watching and recognizing their fear and helping them work through those as they engage on the process, so they can recognize, oh, this may be a tough question, but it has an answer. We can get through this one. Another part in your sessions, your training sessions, how much do you rely on visual tools? I mean, are you strictly writing, or are you using videos and multimedia? I mean, as a way to sort of engage them.
Well, I want to come back to the last question.
Okay.
There is a line of stress. And what is known in creativity is that if you go to the upper part and energizing, it comes a moment that this is not helping. But there is also another part down. You can go to be very rational and very profound in this. When I develop a facilitation process, I go in waves. You see, I make them go up, and then we go to the deeper part. And when it's enough time, we go up, and then we go to the deeper part. So working in waves helps a lot. So having times for doing a warm up, or to having times to have a laugh, or having a time for a break, these are parts also of the process. So in this process, working with the energy of people is fundamental. This is one thing that I really think it's very important. No, I forgot your second question. What was your second question? Sorry.
Oh, the second question had to do with the use of technology on your creativity classes, videos, PowerPoint presentation, Zoom sessions, and that stuff.
Okay, yeah. I don't like PowerPoint. I work better with PaperPoint. You see, drawing and being there and using my skills as an artist to work a lot with drawings. No, but absolutely videos and Zooms and anything that can be there that could help them, I'm more than open to use it. Many things I don't know how to use it, but I have people that help me with this part, because I do believe that this is the way to go. No. But PowerPoint is not something that I like. No, I mean, I don't use it at all. No.
Yeah, one of the big dilemmas, one of the big questions that we confront from time to time is how people sort of confront challenges either in an analog way, which is drawings, painting, right, whatever, versus the digital world that people want to do it all on the machine. But that's a different story. We can have that conversation at a different time. I'm more interested. Another question that I wanted to ask you, talk to me a little bit about your attitude of going to work to learn something new. Where did that come from, and how do you maintain that sort of persona throughout your career? And I don't think you and I are mature people, and I don't think, we still have a lot of time to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, first, many people tell me I'm a workaholic. Mm-hmm. And my answer is I haven't worked a day in my life. I mean, for me, what I do is not work. It's part of my day, of my way of being, of my joy, and of my learning. I tried to retire after COVID, and I was retired for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, I couldn't stand it. So I went back to work. So my attitude toward how I go is at night I feel, oh, I have to sleep this time to wake up and start working. So it's something that I enjoy so much. I think that I have this gift life to do exactly what I want to do. And what has come to me very clear is that when I'm with my grandchildren, or now we have 2 great grandchildren, I use the same process with them when I'm playing or when I'm talking, and just being with them and being aware of how creative they are. It gives me so much pleasure. That I don't think I have worked one day in my life. Mhm. I don't know if this answers your question.
I yes, this is a thing that that I have discussions with my wife. I'm working on a PhD because I thought it would be fun. I mean, it's something that I'm really interested, that I want to learn, so that makes it easier to do that. Ms. Fisher, Luis, how are we doing on time?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I want to be very respectful of your time. Do you mind if I call you Clara?
No, thank you.
This has been very interesting because listening to your perspective and how you approach innovation and creativity has been insightful for me. Being an architect, I understand some of the dilemmas, and I hope that everybody can have a great chance to either watch you on one of your sessions, or read your books, or get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you very much. It was a fantastic interview. I thank you for giving this opportunity to talk to you. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you hopefully soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.